So this is going to be a video explaining what I've learned in Mr. Squire's class that I've found particularly valuable and something that has really helped me a lot with my life, really. And he frequently sort of talks about what learning is and how it's not something that's supposed to be easy. And his definition was that learning is an alteration in the way that you think that is more in tune with the reality of something or the truth of something, if that makes sense. So as you grow up, you develop this ego, and it's not bad, and it's who you are, it's your personality, it's what makes you unique, and it's what makes you you. But sometimes it can sort of shield you from seeing the truth of something because you're so caught up in your own thoughts and your own beliefs and your own perception of things that being able to see the other side and understanding what's actually there is something that is so foreign to you and so like, whoa, that's not what I thought at all, that it's kind of like a tough pill to swallow. But once you do, that's when you learn something, if that makes sense. So like, for example, he used this example of like, if two people are in a conflict and they're trying to decide like what is fair, person A has their own perception of what is fair, and person B has their own perception of what is fair, and if they can't like do like this action and sort of like try to see what the other person is talking about, then they're just gonna be like having a useless conversation where like person A is like, well, this is what I think fair is, and person B is like, well, this is what I think fair is, and then they don't really ever actually listen to each other, and then it just is like noise back and forth. But if they like try to really see what the other person is saying and like be like, oh, I never thought of it that way, then like some sort of, you know, agreement or something can happen, and you know, either person A is like with person B now and everything is good, or person B is with person A now and like, yay, they're happy. You know, it just depends on who turns out to be more correct, if that makes sense. Who is more in tune with the truth or the reality of something. So, for example, with me in this history book, I have my own general teenager perception of history. You know, it's not very, like, I honestly, I don't know a lot of history. So I sort of, you know, went into this class thinking I kind of knew stuff, and then I really read what the text was actually trying to tell me, and then it was like, whoa, I don't know anything. And I learned something, or at least I tried to learn something. Nonfiction reading is a little bit difficult for me because it doesn't have the drama and the emotion and the human interactions and the stories that I need, but I'm trying. I'm getting there. He also uses this analogy of a golf swing, and how you have this golf swing and you've been using it your whole life, and it works pretty well. It's brought you some decent results, and you know, it hasn't really failed you in any way, and you can't imagine, you know, golfing any other way, and you know, it's worked pretty well for you, and you're a pretty good golfer, you know, with this swing that you've developed for yourself. And then like a golfing expert is like, show me your golf swing, and then you show them your golf swing, and they're like, okay, like that's pretty good, and I see that it's, you know, been doing good things for you. But if you want to be an expert, if you want to be like the best golfer in the world, then this is what you have to do. And then the expert teaches you a completely different golf swing that's like nothing compared to what you've been doing. And that is like really hard because you're like, well, come on, like it's like I have to completely start over. And that's exactly it. You have to completely start over. And it's gonna suck for a while because you'll be so unused to it and it'll be such a foreign like thing and it'll feel weird. But like once you practice it for like years and years and years, you'll be like a professional. And I think that's why, or I think, you know, that's the difference between like a pretty decent golfer and then like, you know, Tiger Woods or whatever, if that makes sense. And this is really relatable for me because the same exact thing has happened with me in guitar. Guitar was something that came very naturally for me in middle school, and I taught myself how to play it. And then I started taking with a classical guitarist, and he was like, yeah, you're pretty good. And he was like, if you want to be a master at guitar, this is how you have to do it. And I literally had to change everything that I was doing. You know, I had to hold it like this, I had to like make sure my hand was like parallel to the neck and my wrist was arched, and you know, I was learning theory and fundamentals, and right now it's still like a struggle because it's like, oh my god, like this is not comfortable for me right now, and it's not particularly fun because I'm like still at like the basic level of classical guitar, so it's like really boring, and you know, it's not a party, but it will be a party once I get really good at it, but I just have to keep doing it and doing it the correct way, or like, it's really hard to explain, like the truth or the reality of the guitar and the truth or the reality of being an expert at the guitar requires doing what my classical guitar teacher does. But I have to get there first. And that's what I'm trying to do. So yeah, and Mr. Squires has sort of taught me that in the sense that he's reassured me that what I'm doing right now, taking the time to like study theory and stuff, is like good. That's a good thing. So that's pretty cool. And I feel like if I didn't have that extra like push forward to do that, I wouldn't be doing it as much, or I wouldn't be sticking with it, if that makes sense. So that's pretty cool. And now this video is like really long, and I will make more in the future. Because what I've explained now is definitely like not everything I've learned in the class. Like there's so much more that I want to talk about, but I'm gonna end it for now. So yeah, learning. It's hard stuff, but it's good stuff. So keep learning. All right, adios.